Happy NBA Trade Week, ladies.
If you're watching this video right now, go down below, hit my Twitch, follow to my Twitch. Let's go down below and hit the link in the description, my Twitch, because we react live on Twitch every single day. So if you want to see me react live, hit that follow button on Twitch. Make sure you subscribe to this channel too, because we post every single day on this channel, my Twitch clips. Let's get on.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is probably my favorite week of the regular season because
the Chicago Bulls trade for Lonzo Ball is officially declined.
it's the week that we're going to probably see the biggest change in each and every team. We have several teams that, in my opinion, are fringe contenders that are a legitimate piece away from finally being able to insert themselves within the conversation of contention. A team like the Los Angeles Clippers are currently a point guard away from getting there, in my opinion. At the same time, you have a team like the Houston Rockets who have Victor Oladipo on the roster that is a surefire free agent in the offseason, and he's probably your best asset at this point. So there's no way you want to keep him on your roster after this trade deadline. We got word that the Orlando Magic actually received a trade request from Aaron Gordon about a month ago in the month of February.
From who? Hopefully it's the Lakers, buddy. We want Aaron Gordon. We'll take Andrew Drummond when LeBron gets back. We're winning the championship, so we'll take any pieces we could get while AD's hurt.
Drummond's clock is also ticking. Are the Cleveland Cavaliers going to elect to trade him or buy him out? And that's before we get to this crazy news that we got in regards to the Chicago Bulls offering a trade package for Lonzo Ball. But that's not the only team that tried to trade for Lonzo Ball so far, because there's another team interested in Lonzo Ball, and this team is also interested in trading with the Golden State Warriors. So before we get to all this content, I want to let you guys know I'm giving away a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, it's up to you honestly, to any subscriber that subscribes to my podcast and turns on their notifications. The podcast is called Laced Up. It's the top link in the description down below, and one of those subscribers is going to get to choose between a Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? So I'm going to start this out by listing our sources. We're getting all of this information from The Athletic and from ESPN's Zach Lowe. And if you don't know who The Athletic is, it's pretty much a sports article brand that is headed by Shams Charania, which is my favorite NBA Twitter source. So we're going to start with the Atlanta Hawks. So the Atlanta Hawks are really involved in this trade deadline so far. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but ever since they fired Lloyd Pierce, the Atlanta Hawks are on the up and up with interim head coach Nate McMillan. They're currently 8-0 under their brand new head coach.
They're 8-0. Atlanta's 8-0. Atlanta in the playoffs? What's their record?
And they're actually in the market to make some moves. The first move that they're trying to make is they've expressed some interest in Celtics guard Marcus Smart. Now, Marcus Smart has played in 6 games since returning from a calf strain, and Celtics players understand his loss in the lineup during the month and a half he sat out. Here's the interesting part. The Hawks engaged the Boston Celtics on a potential trade that was centered around John Collins and Marcus Smart. And this pretty much
don't know why. Don't give out John Collins, buddy. He's way better than Marcus Smart, bro.
Escalated because the Celtics initially showed interest in John Collins, then the Hawks took it a step further according to Chris Kirschner, and they tried to target Jaylen Brown. Now, if I know the Boston Celtics and I know Danny Ainge, they're not going to trade Jaylen Brown. They're big believers of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, so I'm assuming that they're not going to do anything there. But it's really interesting to see the Atlanta Hawks swing for the fences. Now, another move that the Atlanta Hawks might be involved in is a potential trade with the Golden State Warriors. So if you've been paying attention to my videos, you'd see that there's one theme in each and every Golden State Warriors trade rumor. And whether it's a linkage to Lonzo Ball or Victor Oladipo, or right now, the player I'm I'm discussing Bogdan Bogdanovic, the Golden State Warriors are searching for a Klay Thompson fill-in, at least for the rest of the season, because they are fringe playoff contenders and they want to get Steph Curry an additional ball.
Bro, someone has texted me, bro, I need an interview. Get your weird ass out of my shit. I don't give a fuck what you need, buddy. I don't know who the fuck you are.
Ball handler or scorer right next to him. And the Golden State Warriors have engaged.
Go ahead and go apply at Pizza Hut, bud. I don't have a job.
The Atlanta Hawks in a potential trade for Bogdan Bogdanovic. But if you ask me, I don't think that trade's going to happen, especially with the success that the Atlanta Hawks have had recently. They went from sellers at the trade deadline to a potential buyer at the trade deadline. And honestly, I'm really excited because I actually pegged the Atlanta Hawks as one of my dark horse playoff contenders this past offseason, and it's really nice to finally see them fulfill their potential. Now, another piece of information we're getting is that the Orlando Magic have officially gotten a trade request from Aaron Gordon a few months ago, yet they didn't really budge on him. This is according to Sam Amick, and apparently Aaron Gordon wants to play for a winning team in a large market with quote-unquote plenty of branding opportunities. And honestly, I don't really blame the guy because he started his career really well.
He's good, like, you need to give him more opportunity, bro. He could jump out the gym, buddy. If you want someone that can jump out the gym, you get Aaron Gordon or my man Zach.
Then things kind of slowed down for him. He regressed a little bit. And if you ask me, the Orlando Magic need to do whatever it takes to sell high on Aaron Gordon and Nikola Vucevic now that they can. The good news is there is a market for Aaron Gordon. The Denver Nuggets, Portland Trailblazers, Minnesota Timberwolves, and Houston Rockets are...
And the Lakers, too. The Lakers, we're looking for a power forward / center.
Are all really interested in him. Now, up next, we have Andre Drummond, a player whose future and current
we can take Andre too on the Los Angeles Lakers. We're just throwing that out there.
State in the NBA is just very interesting to me because Andre Drummond's skill set is no longer a skill set that is very heavily sought after in the NBA. Yet, if you look at his basic statistics, he seems like an extremely productive player. But if you watch him play, he might not be the most important player on the basketball.
That's so true, bro. His stats show a different story than how the way he plays on the team. I think he has the most rebounds in the league.
Court. He's a traditional center. He can't really stretch the floor. He's a pretty good rim protector as well, but he's averaging 17 points and 13.5 rebounds per game for the Cleveland Cavaliers when he was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that kind of pegs the question, what is the value of a traditional center that's a very good traditional center that's
JaVale McGee's soft as fuck though, bro.
He's 7 years old and is set to hit free agency this offseason? Well, the thing is, it's so confusing and so difficult to determine what that player's value is that we have no idea if Andre Drummond's going to get traded or if he's going to get bought out. Now, if there's a team that really wants to get out of a bad contract, then you might see an Andre Drummond trade, and maybe they'll give away a pick for him as well. And the Dallas Mavericks have joined the Brooklyn Nets, Los Angeles Lakers, Toronto Raptors, and
Los Angeles Lakers better be on this one.
Practically the entire NBA in stating that they're interested in Andre Drummond. But like most of these other teams in the NBA, even though the Mavericks have had discussions with the Cleveland Cavaliers about acquiring Andre Drummond, according to the Athletics' Shams Charania, the Mavericks would prefer to pick him up if he gets a contract buyout with Cleveland. Now, Drummond would definitely help the Dallas Mavericks because they really need an interior threat alongside Kristaps Porzingis in
Kristaps Porzingis is not an interior threat, buddy.
The post, and so far he's shown that he could be that interior threat. But listen to this, and this is when it gets really interesting. The Cavaliers are reportedly wanting a second-round pick in return for Drummond and could potentially want more draft compensation if a player with a long-term salary is included, according to Kevin O'Connor. Now, this is how backwards this situation is. The Cleveland Cavaliers are saying, yeah, you could have this guy. You know, he's a pretty productive player. Just give us a second round round pick, give us something. And most teams are like, we know you're going to buy him out, so we're just going to wait. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the fate of Andre Drummond's going to be. But as a person that was a basketball fan in the mid-2000s, where Andre Drummond would legitimately be the face of a franchise in the mid-2000s, this situation is baffling to me. Up next, we have the Los Angeles Clippers, who are really doing whatever it takes to acquire a point guard. They broached the New Orleans Pelicans about Lonzo Ball. They're trying to fill in that point guard position. And if you watch
Lonzo Ball on the Clippers, I would like that. I would like Lonzo Ball on the Clippers.
Clipper games, it's very obvious that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and Lou Williams are all remarkable players, but they'd be so much better if they were fighting off of screens and they weren't expected to create their own shot off of isolation opportunities and pick and rolls each and every time. So the Los Angeles Clippers have engaged two teams. The first team being the OKC Thunder, so they could potentially acquire George Hill. And this makes a lot of sense because Lonzo Ball, in my opinion,
I don't want George Hill nowhere in the playoffs, buddy. Devin, you're not getting a mod, bud. George Hill should not be on any team in the playoffs, bro. He's gonna if I ever see him in the playoffs again, bro, I would have to hurt somebody, bro. After what he did to LeBron, bro, I would never want to see him in the playoffs ever again.
Opinion is not going to happen for the Los Angeles Clippers. We heard, and you're going to hear soon, that the New Orleans Pelicans want at least a first-round pick in return for him, and the Clippers don't have one of those until 2027. George Hill and Ricky Rubio might be a little bit more attainable, and both players would be a huge upgrade over Patrick Beverley. Both of them are true playmaking guards, capable of getting other players involved while also providing some scoring if necessary. We all know that the Minnesota Timberwolves currently have way too many guards once D'Angelo Russell returns from injury. With the rise of Anthony Edwards, Ricky Rubio,
D'Angelo Russell, trade his ass out of there, bro. Get him another player, bro. I don't even like D'Angelo Russell.
And D'Angelo Russell. So that would be a great fit for the Clippers if they were to acquire Rubio. But at the same time, we know that the entire OKC Thunder team that isn't named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is for sale, so long as you offer some form of draft compensation. And my assumption is for a player like George Hill, they would happily take back a young player and a second
Devin, I would beat the brakes off you, bro, and slam you on the floor, bro. In GTA.
round pick, or even just a second round pick, just so they could get something for George Hill. And that would be a huge upgrade for the Los Angeles Clippers. But honestly, if you ask me, my top guy would be Ricky Rubio. I saw what he was able to do for the Phoenix Suns last year, and I'm very
What did he do?
confident
Did they make the playoffs?
for what he could do for the Los Angeles Clippers. He's very versatile, could fit in whether it's the half-court set or a more up-tempo set, and personally, I'm a huge fan of the way he makes plays for other players. And finally, the reason why most of you guys clicked on this video, Lonzo Ball. And we have discussed Lonzo Ball. I think maybe like 4 out of my last 7 videos have been on Lonzo Ball, so it's nice to talk about other stuff here. But Lonzo Ball is currently drawing interests from the Atlanta Hawks and the Chicago Bulls. Pelicans fans might be a little disappointed because Lonzo Ball is starting to finally showcase his true potential, finally starting to shoot 40% nearly from the 3. Really,
Lonzo? That's you making you shooting 40% from the 3?
fitting into the New Orleans Pelicans offense. Of course, LeVar isn't necessarily the most excited about this development, but if you're the New Orleans Pelicans, you have to ask yourself the question, okay,
Bro, what the fuck am I watching?
hey, what do we do with this up-and-coming point guard at this point? Do we keep him and end up having to pay maybe nearly $18 to $21 million a year for him in free agency? Because we all know that some team in restricted free agency is going to offer Lonzo Ball that amount. Or do we trade him and at least get something in return for him, because we also have other point guard options like Kyra Lewis Jr., Nickeil Alexander-Walker that we want to give an opportunity to also be our spot-up shooter. So we're about to find this out within the next coming days, and 2 teams have entered the mix. The Atlanta Hawks have showed interest in Lonzo Ball, and they've offered a trade package that is surrounding Cam Reddish, who used to be Zion Williamson's teammate in Duke. Now, Cam Reddish is a good player, but he hasn't really scratched the surface of his potential so far. The New Orleans Pelicans are pretty deep at the wing position as well, and the New Orleans Pelicans actually came out and said that they want a first-round pick or a young player in return for Ball. because Lonzo's having the best year of his career. Now, the Chicago Bulls reportedly offered Thomas Satoransky and a second-round pick for Lonzo Ball, which, bear in mind, Thomas Satoransky is the Chicago Bulls starting point guard at the time of this video, and the New Orleans Pelicans said no. I'm sure if the Chicago Bulls upgraded that to some sort of protected first-round pick, then you might get a yes from the New Orleans Pelicans, because that's a pretty nice haul for Lonzo Ball, especially if there's a chance that the Chicago Bulls could lose Lonzo Ball this offseason. But at the same time, if you're the Chicago Bulls, why not just wait until this offseason to potentially offer Lonzo a big contract? Or do you want to pair him with Zach LaVine and see what's there first to try to make a playoff